Henry the Green Engine enjoys his work on the island of Sodor. He is a big, strong engine and can do lots of different kinds of jobs, from pulling passengers to hauling freight along the main line. Henry loves the forest most of all, and he is never happier than when he can work there with the arborists of Sodor. Each spring, he visits the forest with the arborists to help cultivate, manage, and study the trees, as well as the other plants and bushes that grow there. They also plant new trees that will stand tall and strong for years to come. It was the morning after a big storm. The rain and wind had caused quite a mess all over the island. Sir Topham Hatt arrived at Wellsworth Yard and spoke quickly to Boko, Bill, and Ben.
"Last night's storm caused you lots of damage," he said. "I need you three to go to the forest to help Henry and the arborists clear the fallen branches, then take the wood to the timber mill."
"Yes, sir," the engines replied, and Sir Topham Hatt left. Bill looked at Ben with a cheeky grin. "The forest?" he chuckled. "We've never been to the forest before." "I wonder what sort of mischief we can stir up in there," replied Ben excitedly. But before they could say anything else, Boko cut in.
"Sorry, you two," he began sternly. "There will be no mischief today. I know that Henry won't stand for any nonsense around the trees. He loves the forest and won't take kindly to any of your trickery."
"Pah!" snorted Bill. "That tree hugger Henry's sure to spoil our fun," agreed Ben, and the twins left with a huff. When they arrived, they could see Henry with the arborists.
"Hello, Henry,"
said Boko gently as he rolled up alongside.
"Why so glum?"
"Oh, hello there," replied Henry with a sigh. "These poor trees are all going to have to be cut down. It's a shame, really. Luckily..." But just then, Henry's words were drowned out by a cacophony of whistles. Henry looked sourly at Boko. He was quite angry indeed. "You didn't mention they were coming," he grumbled. Boko tried his best to soothe the big green engine. "Don't worry," he reassured. "We'll keep them in line. We'll get the job done and get them back to the branch line where they belong." And this made Henry feel better. Before long, the engines were hard at work. Henry worked with the arborists to check on all the trees and make sure they were still standing, while Boko, Bill, and Ben helped the workmen load fallen timbers onto flatbeds. Everything ran smoothly for a while, but then... "Bill, stop bumping those flatbeds!" "I'm not bumping them, you are!" "I'm not, I'm too!" Henry could hear the twins arguing. He noticed that Boko was too busy to help, so he left the clearing where he was working to intervene. "Now, listen here, you two," he began sternly. "Boko told you two to behave, and the forest is no place for messing around. Now stop this arguing at once." But Bill and Ben wouldn't listen. "Did not?" "Did!" They were so busy arguing that they hadn't noticed that one of the flatbeds had come off the rails. Henry's eyes widened as the flatbed crept slowly down the hill and towards a tree next to the line. "Stop it, you two!" The twins fell silent and the flatbed came to a stop. They stared blankly at Henry. "If you hadn't been so busy bickering," said Henry angrily, "you might have noticed that your flatbed was about to hit that tree right there. You need to be more careful." "Humph!" And Henry puffed away to continue his job. But now, the twins were agitated. They didn't like being told what to do by Henry, and they especially didn't like being shouted at. "Ooh, the nerve of that big green giant to think he can tell us how to behave! Who cares about some silly trees anyway? Henry's just an old fusspot." The twins decided it was time for some mischief. Before long, the four engines finished their work for the day. The forest was already looking much better. Just then, one of the arborists spoke to Henry. "Henry, I've just received notice that there's new trees waiting for us at the yards. Can you go and fetch them, please? I wish I could, but I have to go take the flying kipper. Oh, dear. It'd be best if we could get those trees here sooner rather than later.
I would do it, but I have to go pull an evening goods train, said Boko.
Just then, the twins cut in. We can do it, cried Ben. He gave Bill a sneaky grin. Yes, let us do the job. But Henry knew this could only lead to trouble.
I don't trust the two of you with such precious cargo, he said sternly.
Henry's right, agreed Boko. You two are just too unpredictable. Not to mention that it's a big job. Oh, Boko, scoffed Ben. We can handle a couple of measly saplings. Plus, we want to make it up to Henry. Yes, we're terribly sorry about our argument, and we want to make things right. Henry and Boko eyed each other suspiciously.
All right, said Boko finally. Those trees better make it here safe and sound without a leaf out of place.
Of course, Boko, the twins chorused. Henry was still worried, but there was no time to make other arrangements. As the two big engines left, Bill and Ben let out a quiet laugh. Now to get our revenge on Henry for bossing us around, Ben muttered to Bill. It was nightfall by the time the twins had collected the new trees, and the weather had worsened again. I don't like the look of these clouds one bit, Ben. Pah! Snorted Ben. Don't be daft. All we have to do is leave these trees on a siding in the forest and go home. Then, when Henry gets to the forest tomorrow morning, he'll think that his precious new trees went missing. And then we'll bring them back once he's learned his lesson. And with that, the twins chuffed triumphantly away towards the forest, sure that their plan would teach Henry a lesson. But, as they puffed down the line, the weather took a turn for the worst. Ben, are we almost there? Shouted Bill. I think so. The forest should be right ahead, Ben shouted back. As the twins arrived at the forest, they could barely see 2 inches in front of their buffers. Where's the siding, Ben? It should be right here. Whoa! The rain had loosened the ground beneath the rails, and the twins had fallen right into a muddy puddle. Luckily, the baby trees had remained upright and unhurt. This is all your fault, Ben, snapped Bill. You said you knew where the siding was. I did know where the siding was, Bill. It's not my fault that the tracks washed away. The twins bickered for hours. It was much too late and the weather far too severe for their crews to go for help. After a while, they became tired and drifted off to sleep. When the twins awoke the next morning, the weather had subsided. The sun was shining once again. Oh, where are we? Muttered Ben sleepily. Don't you remember? Replied Bill. Your silly plan landed us right in the mud. My silly plan? Our silly plan, you mean? Began Ben. But before the twins could start bickering again, they were interrupted by the cheerful sound of birds chirping. Oh my, mumbled Ben. Isn't this something? Agreed Bill quietly. Just then, Boko and Henry arrived at the scene of the accident. Well, would you look at that, laughed Boko. Right where I thought they'd be. Well, Henry snorted. How was your night in the forest? It seems you settled in quite nicely with the trees. But the twins said nothing. They were too enthralled by the scenery. Well, Henry, I always thought Edward and I were the only ones that could keep these two in check. But it seems like your forest has done the trick. Just then, the twins noticed Boko and Henry. Oh, hello there, spluttered Ben. We didn't hear you coming, Bill blurted out. I hesitate to ask, said Bogo with trepidation, but what exactly happened? So the twins explained everything.
We're sorry for trying to trick you, Henry. Yes, we didn't realize how beautiful the forest actually was.
Henry just laughed. And I'm sorry for raising my voice at you two yesterday, and being so rude. But hopefully now you can see why this forest means so much to me.
Yes, indeed,
the twins said in unison.
Now, can someone help get us out of this mud?
Now the twins accompany Henry to visit the forest whenever they can. They have a newfound appreciation for the simple things in life, and Henry is glad for their company. As the three friends sit beneath the wide oaks and tall pines, they listen intently for the sounds of leaves rustling, twigs snapping underfoot, and the occasional chirp of a bird. Having someone to share the forest with makes the beauty of it all the more special for Henry the Green Engine.